Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well today. We're going to take a look at the retrogrades that are happening. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and then I'll go through the dates of the retrogrades, okay? So Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto. All of these planets are going retrograde and will have an immersion and dissolving of energies to start a new journey. But first, your perspective and understanding will need to change. Identity shifts are wanting to emerge in Aries, while holding the force of authority and structure, which will be Saturn, to place you on an authentic path, which is Neptune, that you have been asking the divine to liberate you from, which is Uranus, the liberation or freedom that you've been searching for, to bring a death or rebirth, which is Pluto, to your connections with the physical world and to transform your psychological world. This will in turn be a brand new you. You will be seen by others differently. You will have a new identity. This will be the result of your physical appearance changing and may include changes to your physical body. Pisces, Aries, Aquarius, Taurus, and Gemini energies and the houses are activated on an internal dialogue for everyone to review, reassess, and to return to what identity your soul is calling you to be in this new world that is emerging, which is Uranus in Gemini and Pluto in Aquarius. These retrogrades will help you slow down to see the new perceptions and new understandings that will help you articulate what you have journeyed through thus far and why. It will show you what you desire to change and why. It will also enlighten you to whether or not this desire is necessary, or is there a change that needs to happen internally so that you and the pattern is disrupted and doesn't repeat again. So please take your time, surrender to whatever feelings and emotions may come up, acknowledge them, but act slowly and precisely to make sure that your perspective and consciousness have caught up with what realities want to emerge. This time can be compared to the dark night of the soul, which includes inner child healing and much needed soul time to do the inner work that is and will be greatly desired. And those of you who believe that we have multiple lives, this is the changes that will be present within the next lifetime. For most of these planets will only have one chance of this energy within this lifetime. So I'm going to go over the schedule of the retrogrades. So we have Saturn retrograde on July 13th, 2025 at 1 degrees and 56 minutes in Aries. On September 1st, 2025, Saturn will then retrograde into Pisces. November 27th, 2025, at 25 degrees and 9 minutes, Saturn will turn direct in Pisces. Neptune retrograde will happen on July 4th, 2025, at 2 degrees and 11 minutes in Aries. On October 22nd, 2025, it will then enter Pisces. And December 10th, 2025, at 29 degrees and 22 minutes, Neptune will go direct in Pisces. Pluto retrograde will start May 4th, 2025, at 3 degrees and 49 minutes in Aquarius. And in October 13th, 2025 at 1 degrees and 22 minutes, Pluto will then go direct in Aquarius. Uranus retrograde will happen on September 6, 2025 at 1 degrees and 28 minutes in Gemini. On November 7th, 2025, Uranus will then enter Taurus as it retrogrades back into Taurus. On February 3rd, 2026, Uranus will then go direct in Taurus. So I'm going to go over all the signs. Please watch your sun, moon, and rising sign to get a full picture of what's happening within your world. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Hi, Scorpio. I hope you're doing well today. We're going to take a look at these retrogrades that are happening within your world. Please take time out to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. We're going to talk about Saturn first. Saturn retrograde will happen in Aries on July 13th until September, and then it goes back into Pisces September 1st. Okay? And it will go direct again on November 27th. I have the schedule within the intro if you haven't looked at the schedule. But Saturn retrograde is trying to structure you internally. It's trying to change your psychological thinking. It's trying to change your psychological authority. Now, Aries is your identity. Aries is concerned with your physical body, your identity, the way that other people see you, your physical appearance, your self-leadership, and the way that you govern yourself throughout the world. So the way that you lead yourself out into the world, okay? This is in your 6th house. The 6th house is your lifestyle, your health, your daily routine, your daily work and employment, co-workers, pets, servicing others is here. Your detail and orientation of how you are organized and you are detailed, right? This is a Virgo house, by the way. So with this house activated with Saturn retrograde, this could look like you taking authority over what you're doing on a daily routine, on your daily schedule, you taking authority on your internal dialogue of how you handle health situations. People are going to see you differently, okay? People are going to notice that you are becoming a leader within your daily activities, your daily routine, that, hey, Scorpio is changing, right? They're changing. And they're getting healthier. They're figuring out what to do on a daily routine to keep themselves in leadership, right? With whatever. It could be work. It could be your status. It could be, I'm explaining Saturn things here, of Saturn ruling Capricorn. So it could be the role that you play in life, whether you're a parent, a CEO, it doesn't matter the role that you have, your legacy, okay? That you're working upon your legacy, that you are changing internally with the leadership of your internal self to push forward with the physical, to change the physical, to change the outside of you. This could look like Saturn working on you internally to change that identity. And identity can involve anything, but it's the way that other people see you. If you have been a person that hasn't been feeling loved, if you had been a person that has been a workaholic, if you had been a person that has been messy with their life, right? And I say that with compassion because other things could have made that happen, right? That you taking leadership over yourself internally is going to fix the physical outside of you. And it's going to change your health. It's going to change your physical body. It's going to change your work, probably, or your daily routine of how you're leading yourself. Okay? Saturn retrograde into Pisces. Now, you've already had that. I have videos upon Saturn in Pisces if you want to take a look and get a little notion of what that means in depth, right? But I'm just going to touch on it here. With Saturn retrograde, is going to work on you internally with Pisces. And this is transformation endings that happen within the 5th. This could look like you finally having love for yourself. You accepting love could happen, right? This could be a situation of Pisces being activated with surrender and letting go and going with faith, with children, with love, with loss of a loved one, with grief. Okay? That Saturn is changing that internal dialogue of you taking leadership over it, over situations that have happened with children, loss and grief, loss of a loved one, loss of love, infidelity. Okay? That Saturn retrograde is pushing that leadership internally to change how you're looked upon by other people. Okay? So I'm going to move on to Neptune, because Neptune being activated is also going to hit Aries and Pisces. Okay? But it is a new cycle. Neptune retrograde will happen on July 4th. And it will go back into Pisces in October, on October 22nd. And then direct. Okay? Direct in Pisces on December 10th. Neptune, let me get another pen here so we can follow. Neptune in the 6th house. Neptune represents the divine intervention. Okay, this is can be confusion that had happened a little bit, but Neptune can also bring in clarity. It can do both. It can flood the waters, or it can make the waters clearer again, right? So Neptune is almost like a divine intervention that happens within the 6th house. And this could be Neptune working on you, retrograde, with situations of having faith with whatever is happening at work, whatever is happening within your daily life and your lifestyle. Neptune could have brought some type of confusion in regards to what you want out of life as your lifestyle, who you want in your lifestyle, right? Neptune is the ruler over Pisces, so when it goes back into Pisces, it's at home there. And Neptune can give you that divine intervention of feeling loved. It can show you that you have love and are surrounded by love. And that could come from your children. That could come from your pets. That could come from situations of love itself, your dating life, right? 5th house is also your creative endeavors. It's not just love. It's not just joy, hope, and optimism. It's also your creative endeavors. It's media, too. Popularity and celebrity status is here. But this could be, Scorpio, that Neptune is working out in a new cycle of you healing from loss, you healing from love loss. You're healing from situations of whatever could be happening with children, okay? Or having children, okay? This could also be Neptune working with Pisces as habits. The habits that you've had is intertwining with that 6th house, okay? Because Neptune will go both in Pisces and the 6th house of you're changing your thought progress on what habits that are deterring you from a good routine of taking hold and using that leadership within the 6th house of that routine. So you changing a habit could happen. And it feels like it was a divine intervention because maybe you were hooked on it, right? This could be a situation that Neptune works out in a blessing of some sort that comes out of that 5th house of you didn't think that you could surrender to situations, or you didn't think that you had unconditional love. There could be a transformation or an ending that happens for you that changes your daily routine, your daily work and employment, okay? But to look at this new cycle that's happening within the 5th house and the 6th, we have to move on to the other transits because they're going to have flavor with it, right? So we're going to look at instant change that's happening with Uranus. Uranus will be in Gemini, and it will be going retrograde in Gemini on September 6th, and then it will have a little time in Taurus too, retrograde. Okay, and we'll dip back into Taurus. And I don't know if you remember how it was having Uranus in Taurus, but it's going to have, I'm going to have to use another pen here. It's going to have almost the same flavor because it's trying to remind you of something here. Okay, so the 8th house is activated with Uranus, and Uranus is death and rebirth, okay? I'm sorry, Uranus is instant change in 8th house of death and rebirth. And this could be a situation of you having a child, right? It could be whether or not you want another child or whether or not you want children, okay? That could be how Uranus is acting out. And it's showing you within that 6th and 5th house, right? It's showing you within the love that children bring. And it's showing you within how you affiliate your routine surrounding children, okay? But Uranus could change you on an internal dialogue. The fears that you may have revolving around it, the healing that needs to happen in regards to situations of the past, you know, that brings up fears. Phobias could happen here. With Uranus activated, it's going to change the way that you interact with those. So, for example, say that you're scared to have children. Maybe you were told by someone in the health facility of you can't have children, what have you, right? And there's fear surrounded by it. There's phobias surrounded by it. And Saturn retrograde is taking leadership over the situation of your health, okay? And changing you to be a leader of your daily routines and working things out for you, right? So that psyche that's connected to the 8th house could be changing, revolving that situation. This can be the same with love. This can be the same with letting go of a habit. This can be the same as changing your psyche transforming you internally so that you can place more joy, more hope, more love within that fifth house and take leadership over what you need to have done in the sixth in your daily routines, right? So instant change happening internally to help you figure out what identity should be placed upon you with this new cycle. Eighth house being activated can involve shared resources, grants and government, divorces. It can be crisis. Eighth house is also hidden knowledge, right? Taboo topics. It deals with finances, investments, long-term finances, loans, grants and government, death and rebirth, I said before, but transformation and your psyche is the eighth house. With Gemini. Gemini is communication. Gemini is communicating to yourself and to other people. Gemini can also be the environment you grew up in. Gemini can be related to aunts, uncles, cousins, relatives, nieces, nephews, and neighbors. Okay? Gemini can also be moving. It can be skills and learning abilities. It can be media and writing. This could be an inheritance that comes to you, that's communicated to you, involving a loss of a loved one. Okay? And it could be dealing with homes. It could deal with the environment that you're in right now, right? It can deal with, I'm talking about inheritance. So it could be loved ones. It could be aunts, uncles, cousins, relatives, nieces, nephews, or neighbors that leave you an inheritance of some sort. Okay. It could be just that communication revolving around that. It could also be situations of that mindset surrounding that, if that makes any sense, like that's something that you're waiting for. This could also be communication to yourself in regards to eighth house affiliations. So maybe you've been thinking about death. Maybe someone was lost and you've been thinking about death, right? And how that is facilitated within your world. And that transformation, that instant change can happen, that epiphany can happen with Uranus, because Uranus is enlightenment. Uranus can be also situations of instant change internally, okay? Instant change internally of whatever dialogue that you've been having surrounding that situation. With this situation, if it deals with death, you have to figure out your own belief system surrounding death, right? You have to figure out maybe communicating with those aunts, uncles, cousins, relatives, nieces, nephews, and neighbors can help you understand. I do want to say too that the eighth house dealing with shared resources, there could be an instant change that happens internally of shared resources, of your situation of shared resources, maybe a will and testament of some sort, right, of who you want to leave, whomever, or whatever. And this is an internal change about that. And there's something of a reason that happens out of this. And it could have something to do with children. It could have something to do with situations of a daily situation, like one child takes care of you on a constant basis, therefore you're leaving them a certain amount of inheritance. Does that make any sense? This could be also with the eighth house,
that you get communicated about a child coming into the world by aunts, uncles, cousins, relatives, nieces, nephews, or neighbors, that they're having a child, okay? And this could have an effect upon you whether or not you want to have a child, right? Something psychologically is happening here with your psyche, with transformation of your psyche, with enlightenment of your psyche. If you've been having problems financially, because Uranus is going to go back into Taurus, and that's finances, right, with your partner. It's also the value that you bring to that partnership, and it's also homes, right? Taurus is homes. Taurus is your self-worth. Taurus is things of luxury, okay? This could be that you and your partner are trying to situate finances, and there's an epiphany that happens for you internally, that you find out a way to gain or get finances. This could also be your partner doing this, okay? Seventh house being activated can be marriage partners. It can be significant others. It can be clients. It can also be open enemies, excuse me, contracts, business associations, right? With Uranus working on you internally, you're thinking about how to have a relationship and your relationship with finances. This can also be situations of how do you have vacations, right? That could be something, because luxury is here. This could also be Uranus working on you internally of how do you bring value within business associations? How do you bring value within your clients, right? Because that sixth house being activated from earlier with Saturn is talking about how you service others. And this could be a situation of you changing how you service others by using other people's resources, by servicing others in finances, servicing others in insurance, servicing others in some way, shape, or form with a client, using maybe homes, real estate. Okay, that could be a thing. All of this is happening internally, and there will be a transformation of how you do these things, because it's going to change the way that you're looked upon. Okay. Seventh house with Taurus, with Uranus retrograde, is changing you internally of receiving love from a partner, giving love to a partner, right? Taurus is ruled by Venus, just to let you know. And Venus being the ruler here with Uranus, there's going to be a change of love. Maybe it's you have to take leadership over loving a person on a daily basis, choosing to love that person on a daily basis, because your outside physical is just chaotic. That could be it. And it could be chaotic because of a newborn baby. It could be chaotic because of a health situation. It could be chaotic because of maybe a loved one, right, of some sort. It could be chaotic because of some type of relationship problem that may have happened with infidelity. Okay? I say that only because fifth house is infidelity. And you have the eighth house activated with the divorce. And there could have been thoughts of you wanting a divorce, right? There could have been thoughts of situations with transforming the relationship some way, somehow, whether that is working on it or letting it go. Transformation and endings is Pisces in that 5th, okay? And the 8th house with change is there. So, I mean, it's really up to you. And then you have the 7th house with Taurus, you know, of finances. It could have been you in that situation that acted upon infidelity, right? You know. But Scorpio, this is you changing your mindset surrounding those things, surrounding divorce, surrounding shared finances, surrounding relationships. If this is you not capable of loving someone, and it dealt with problems of thinking about infidelity, that maybe you had people cheat on you, maybe it didn't happen to you, but it happened to other people within your world, and therefore there is an internal dialogue surrounding that. Uranus is going to come in and change that psyche. It's going to open you up to being vulnerable and receiving love again. Okay? Uranus is a liberation planet. It is the ruler of Aquarius, so it's liberation, freedom, but it can also be rebellion. Okay, I just want to put that out there, that it can rebel against situations of relationships, of love, of situations of money, right? That maybe you feel that your partner is spending way too much, and therefore you let go of the hold that you have regarding finances, or you do the same. You start spending a lot. You know, it can be rebellion, just to let you know. But Uranus wants to work on you with that mindset surrounding shared resources, and to help you with Pisces in the 5th house of letting go and going with faith, surrendering to situations, having unconditional love, choosing to love yourself first rather than an outside source, and then you can love, right? That could be it. It could be that your psyche is completely changing surrounding relationships and whether or not you want to be involved. Because Uranus is detachment. Uranus is also the ruler over Aquarius, and Pluto is in Aquarius, and Pluto will be retrograde, working in Aquarius until October. And then it will go direct, right? So let's look at Aquarius, okay? Aquarius is in the 4th, working with Pluto, transforming you internally with how you deal with your emotional body, transforming you internally with how you deal with your sense of belonging. Okay? So the 4th house deals with homes and property. It deals with family, nurturing, mothers, motherhood, mother figures. Mothers of any type, doesn't even have to be female, right? It can be a nurturing person here. Security, your sense of belonging, your emotional body, and your foundation. With Pluto activated, retrograde is transforming you internally, and it's working with the 8th and the 7th house, okay, because of Uranus being the ruler over Aquarius. Okay, so we have these two houses activated with this Pluto retrograde to give you more of an idea of how it's playing out. So like I said, this could be that inheritance that happens of a home. It can be a transformation of where your mother resides, okay? It can also be that you and a partner decide to share your home with your mother, shared resources is activated, right? This could also be, I want to explain Aquarius to you so you get more of an idea. Aquarius is hopes, dreams, and wishes, rewards and gains, networks, clubs, groups, and affiliations, community, friendships of long distance, acquaintances, older siblings, socializing, and technology. This could look like you changing or transforming where you're living. It could be that you're moving back to the place that you grew up. It could be that you're transforming those groups, clubs, and affiliations into more of an esoteric knowledge, into more of taboo topics that you are getting involved with, the taboo or occult. And this is a result of helping you heal your emotional body. That could be something. This could also be that you're on the internet doing these things like tarot and astrology and anything of the occult, and you're making money. That you have business associations regarding that, right? This could also be a situation of you working from home on the internet, dealing with finances or insurance, life insurance. I'm trying to think of anything else here. Vehicle insurance, because Gemini are vehicles and laptops and phones, right? It could be that. It could be that transformation that's happening that's dealing with work and your sixth house being activated with Aries, remember, with Saturn trying to make you a leader, trying to push that leadership over your daily routine, your daily work and employment, your health, okay? But with Pluto, Pluto is a long transit. It is, I think, 22 years, something like that. And Uranus is 7 to 8 years. And they're working together to start this first half of transformation of the fourth house, of you being a mom, right? Of you trying to figure out psychologically of what death is about, of you being associated with different clubs, groups, and affiliations from home that are more of a soul tribe for you, to where you have this sense of belonging, okay? That maybe you can be the nurturer there, that maybe the community of where your mother grew up, this is you transforming back to that community. This could also be with Pluto retrograde working to transform you, a death and rebirth internally, rising from the ashes, from whatever problem you had psychologically, dealing with love that dealt with a mother figure. Okay? I hope I made sense there. That there's a healing and restoration that could happen in regards to maybe a death of a mother, or this could be a mother figure, the way that you grew up, right? That can be healed through finding the right community, finding the right associations. It can be healed from Uranus coming in and changing things for you. I don't know if you watched your Uranus transit, but Uranus works out like liberation and freedom, and you can wake up one day and not have the same feelings that you had the night before surrounding grief, surrounding hurt, okay? So that could change, all right? It could also be just changing psychologically because you have decided to take hold over your mindset. And it could be because of that interaction that you have with those clubs, groups, and affiliations. Okay. I do want to say too, on a money-wise, that your partner could gain some money of some sort revolving shared resources, or this could be just a transformation of their resources, and therefore you're capable of purchasing a home or property. They could become that real estate agent, or they could become a person that just gains or has an upgrade of money so that you have that transformation, right? That could be something. This could also look like a change of identity for you, that you get married, and therefore that changes everything for you. Like you have shared resources and you have a home, and you know, a lot of things can happen when you interact with another person with your resources. You both share resources. That could be it. But the fourth house will be transformed, and there's, you know, sections of life to where it will be transformed. Right now, that is in the 8th house in Gemini, because Uranus is activated in Gemini. Also in Taurus, the very end of Taurus. Okay, so changes with relating to others, changes with relationships, changes with finances, with relationships, changes with partnerships, with business, clients, okay, that you could have if you work in, if you work from home and you work with clients, that you could have an upgrade with your finances. That could happen. But Uranus retrograde is going to show you how. It's going to give you an enlightenment of how to use the resources at hand, or how to change your daily routine with Saturn retrograde to your service with others, right? 6th house, service with others, changing that service with others to get there. And that could be that you're using other people's resources to do so, right? It could be that also the 4th house working on you on a psychological level with your sense of belonging and emotional body. But family is also the 4th house. And there could be family and long distance that can help you. There's a transformation happening with family of long distance that could help you in some way, shape, or form. Could be aunts, uncles, cousins, relatives, nieces, nephews, or neighbors that can help you with shared resources. They can help you with government situations. They could help you with maybe your psyche, right? They could be the ones that help you heal. They could tell you stories of situations that were surrounding your parents, right? They could tell you stories with situations of how they dealt with grief, or, you know, if you're asking in regards to death, they could help you there too, right? That is a possibility. I think that might be about it, Scorpio, but most definitely transformation is abound, no matter what, with Pluto activated retrograde in the 4th house, that things that have not been healed will be healed, that you will feel like you're nurtured again, that you will have that emotional body managed with your psyche. Okay, with this activation, because an epiphany could happen. Okay, an enlightenment can happen with Uranus retrograde. Okay. All right, Scorpio, thank you for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.